Okay, welcome to the third episode of the KenCast. Sorry for the what's the word? Extremely spaced podcast. Um, I was given a request to do a more quiet one, probably one to do more with helping people go to sleep. Now, I'm not entirely certain how my voice will do in that regard, but in an attempt to, I guess, allow that kind of to invoke sleeping, I will try to go a little slower this time. I'm not entirely certain what I'm going to talk about, although I assure you it will not be anything related to what I did last time. Maybe a story, but not nearly as exciting as I want it to be. So, I guess going to this, I should brainstorm before actually doing something. Although I guess the first thing would be what I'm trying to, I guess, mimic in this case. The main thing I'm trying to mimic is Bob Ross. Now, Bob Ross, mind you, is very, very talented at making people fall asleep, right? And he's like, totally fine with it. He's spending, I guess he doesn't really spend too much work, I should say, or try too hard to draw anything. It's more so just a man in his element, right? So when I do this, what is Kenny in his element? And I'm not entirely certain. I'm not entirely certain what Kenny is in his element, in all honesty. Kenny in his element, let's see. So I do have an idea. I probably will be reading a short story today at the end. It's not the same story I quite remember. My story was something about a man going to the moon, right? The face on the moon, right? I think my mom used to tell me, but I couldn't really find it. I found something close, though. I found something relatively close. It's a tale of two brothers, but again, I'll save that for the last maybe 10 minutes. See how slowly I can read through that. I don't know. I guess random ideas like that. Question. I should really ask these in the beginning or at the end, but question. Do I add any music behind this? Because I feel like during quiet times with that those little pauses when I'm thinking about what I want to say, I feel like I should add some sort of music, maybe classical, whatever it may be. Sometimes I could find a way to edit. I have no idea how to edit. Probably just find royalty music online. Again, I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. The only reason this is working is because, I don't know if I said on the first KenCast, I'm just recording it using the recording software on my laptop, so take it as you will. Luckily it's working relatively well for that regard. If that's the case, I'll find a way. I'll probably try to fine tune the sound and do that, nice and easy. The second idea I was thinking was, do I play this over some game, right? Because the people I watch, they're usually doing something, right? I am doing literally nothing. I'm sitting in this tiny chair, right? My brother broke this chair when he sat on it. He's only 20 pounds heavier than I am, right? So, take it as you will. I'm 125 pounds, by the way. But this chair is all I'm sitting on. I'm just sitting in front of my window. I don't see anything outside. I just see the reflection of my lights on the windows. Very soothing. I did find a very nice, warm, adjustable light that, it's much nicer than that painfully bright white lights that I sometimes see around, school and stuff like that, right? Much warmer colors. That helps to go to sleep. Oh, wait, another thing about it, right? So I do nothing in here, and that's probably why I fall asleep really quickly. I am very, very lucky. I can fall asleep on a whim. I've been trying to figure out why for a good long time, right? I've done some thinking, right? Now, the first thing I thought of is, of course, well, I'm always tired. So I'll always fall asleep. I'll just KO, right? I'll always just KO when I hit the bed. But, even other people are more tired than I am, no doubt. I have friends out there who work twice as hard as I do. Undoubtedly work much, much harder than I do. But they don't get the sleep, right? one of my cousins has insomnia, like actually diagnosed insomnia. And so with that, I have no idea what to say. It just sucks, that sucks, and it truly does, right? So I guess that's why I'm making this, right? So in that regard, what tips do I have? I'm gonna move this real quick because I keep touching it. What tips do I have to go to sleep, right? The worst thing, by far the worst thing that can happen to you when you try to go to sleep is when you take a nap, right? Or you're going to take a nap, right? And you don't. You take, like, normally you're like, okay, I'll just take a nap, right? I'll take a nap. It's right after school, I'll take a nap. I'll eat some lunch or dinner, I suppose, afterwards, right? And, I'll be done. I can do my homework then, right? And then I'll go back to sleep, right? The worst part is when you're like, you're about to go to sleep, right? So you hop in bed, you snuggle yourself in your warm blanket, which, if you listen to this, you probably should. Your nice warm bed. So this winter, you finally have that excuse to, literally smother yourself in blankets. For me, I got a nice big, I guess the term was a weighted blanket. I don't know, it's just mainly heavy, right? That big winter blanket. I got my, stuffed animals all around me. On me right now is my big stuffed animal is a giant owl, give or take, 2 feet by 2 feet by a foot. Just big fat plushie, right? So you have the excuse to do that, which I highly suggest you should if you're listening to this, right? It should be enough to go to sleep, right? But doing that, right? You shouldn't feel the need to do that, right? Just go ahead and just snuggle yourself up, right? Now, I digress. Back to the worst thing about sleeping, right? When you try to go to sleep and you have 15 minutes, okay, I'm just going to fall asleep like I normally do, right? Maybe. Sometimes you guys might take a long time. Someone's like, I'll just try to go to sleep. And if I don't, I don't, right? So you hop in bed and you lay there. And 5 minutes pass, 10 minutes pass, 15 minutes pass. And you're still laying there. For some reason, you don't feel tired at all, right? And you're like, I'll just keep tossing and turning until I feel tired enough. And 30 minutes pass. Lo and behold, 30 minutes pass. And you're still laying right there, right? You're still laying right there trying to go to sleep. And during those 30 minutes, you could have had a snack. You could have done some homework, But now you're just waiting to fall asleep. And you don't know when you're going to go to sleep. You don't know whether you should commit to sleeping, right? Or if you should stop, call it quits, and just start doing something, right? Most of the time, though, because we're already in bed, and because, like I said, it's much colder, so you have the excuse to snuggle, right? Your room's kind of cold because it's upstairs or it's downstairs, and heating's not as good, right? So you're just finding all the excuses. You're finding all the excuses not to leave your bed, and so you lay there, and you wait. You keep waiting. You just keep waiting, and you do fall asleep. Sometimes, sometimes it's just an hour and a half, and that's it. That's it. You just call it, right? Sometimes you wait an hour and a half and you actually do fall asleep, but now it's 8 o'clock at night, you haven't eaten anything, you're hungry, and you still got that homework due tomorrow, right, that you neglected. Sometimes I feel like I'm hitting a little too close to home. Sometimes I feel like I'm adding people, which, if you think I am, trust me, I have no one in mind when I say this, right? There's no one in mind when I say this. Although those who know me definitely know I have someone in mind. Anyway, so what I would say to that, right? That's the worst thing. So the tip I have, right, is don't take a nap. I'm serious. Don't take a nap. I loathe taking naps because it screws up my entire sleep schedule. Some of you out there have the most ridiculous sleep schedules. You go home, right? You take a nap you like schedule the naps, right? You take a nap at 45 minutes, right? For 45 minutes you take a nap. And you wake up, you do something, right? And you schedule the nap again. I'm like, the amount of sleep you need for the nap to be useful is at least 2 hours. It's at least 2 hours. I have no scientific evidence to back that up, but I know it's at least 2 hours, right? And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? you're just screwing your life over. If you don't, it sounds kind of awkward. I'm putting my hand over my face, kind of like, not like face palm, right? I don't take naps because it screws up my entire sleep schedule, and I can't go to sleep at the right time, right? Some of you, this might work, and honestly, I would advise no, right? I'd say no. Just make one day hell, go to sleep right, and try to your goal is to maintain that sleep, right? I remember freshman year and sophomore year when we think we had sleeping problems, or at least when I had sleeping problems, right? I go to sleep at 9 freshman year. That was my goal, 9 o'clock freshman year, right? And I met that goal. And after about 2 months, 3 months, right, into the school year, I started waking up before my alarm. And some of you might hate that, right? It's like, oh, I didn't get enough sleep. No. That's really good. It's so good. It's amazing that you're waking up before your alarm. Unless you're scared of your alarm, which at that point, I'm sorry. But if you wake up consistently before your alarm, right? You still feel tired, of course, with how we're doing in school these days. It'd be rare to get even 8 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours of sleep, right? Now, for me, it's nice to get 8 hours. I have the ability to get 8 hours of sleep a day, right? Go to sleep at 10, 11, right? But my choices are, how can I say this? Not good. So I tend to go to sleep later than that. Usually because I'm on my phone, right? That's another tip, but I'll get to that later, right? But usually if you put away your phone, right? Sucks, but if you put away your phone, you're given the ability, and you should always try this, to sleep at least 7, 6, 8 hours a day, right? Same time, even if it's a little, same time every day, and you will feel significantly better after about 3 weeks. I know, 3 weeks of sleep, of no naps, right? That's like No Nap November, but for napping. No Nap November. New thing. Coin it here now, just like the KenCast. I actually found out there's something else called the KenCast, but they're probably not as popular as I am with my looks at his watch, 5 years. But that's it. I'd say don't take naps. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, as I alluded to before, try to get off your phone. Or if you're on your phone, right, limit your phone down each time, right? I'll go down steps this way, right? First, if you can, the best thing to do is just chuck your phone on the ground, right? The moment you get that urge, I need to go to sleep, just chuck it across the room. Hopefully your alarm's on. Chuck it across the room, right? Hopefully it's charging too. Chuck it across the room, and that's it. You're done, right? You're done. It's already cold, like I said. Use your reverse psychology, right? You use the things that keep you in bed to help you go to sleep, and to keep your phone away from your hands. They say you look at a screen or stuff like that, hard to go to sleep. Do I know if that's true or not? No clue. Literally no clue. I have no idea whether or not that's true. But it may help, right? Second, if you're on your phone, right, the first thing you do on your phone is set a sleeping time, right? Because when it does, right, it'll pop on the sleeping time, right? I can set it on my iPhone. Let me see how I can get to it. Some of you might already do this. I don't, because for some reason the alarm is too quiet, so I can't wake up, right? But it's kind of useful when you do bedtime. There it is, right? Go to your clock, go down to your things as bedtime, right? You can set up your bedtime, and it'll tell you about 11:15. You can set to when it wants to tell you, hey, you got to go to sleep, my guy, or my gal? Question mark. That sounds weird. You should go to sleep. And you can choose to ignore it. Many people do, but it's a reminder of the time, right? And that reminder will pretty much just guilt trip you. So it'll help you do that, right? And if you're going to do that, set up a nighttime on your phone. And nighttime is pretty much when it drops below a certain time, right? Your phone will dim from a bright white into a sort of grayer yellow. This will help you go to sleep because white bright lights are equivalent to the sky, kind of like the sun. And they really, really don't help you with going to sleep because it's like a signal to your brain, hey, stay awake, right? Warmer signs are similar, sunset, sunrise, things that are like, okay, I should be asleep by now, right? I should still be asleep. For most people, I should still be asleep. So that's a plus right there. And of course, last tip, right? You have no excuse to surround yourself in pillows. No excuse. Unless you don't have any. At that point, whatevs. Oh, quick note. One of my friends, and my mom included, has neck and back problems. They'll wake up and they'll feel horrible. They'll feel absolutely horrible. They'll feel like they've, like someone has sat on their back as they slept, and their neck just can't support them, and the last thing they want to do is get up, right? And when they do get up, it hurts, but when they lay it down, it hurts even more, so they're in this horrible cycle, and it's truly sad, right? I had this problem. During sophomore year, I had this problem. You can tell I've already gone over it, right? I had this problem. How I fixed it, right, was that it was one of my friends from math class, right? He's kind of like an older brother to me. Didn't talk much, but what was his name? It wasn't Omar. No. It was a very unique Middle Eastern name that I'm not quite remembering. I can figure it out. But nonetheless, he said, "Do you have neck problems?" Like, yeah, I went to school. My neck was killing me, right? And in math, he said, "Hey, sleep on the ground." I'm like, "What?" He says, "Sleep on the ground." I'm like, "Why?" Right? And he says, "Strains on your back." Right? That's all he said. I'm like, "Okay, I'll try it." Right? So that day, my neck was it was even in more pain than it was at the beginning of the day, right? I go to sleep, and I'm like, screw it. Screw the bed, right? And I just slept on the floor next to my bed, right? Blanket still. Wasn't too hot that day. It was still mid-fall, I think. And it was nice. It was so wonderful. It was so wonderful. Because I woke up the next day before my alarm, and I just stood up, and it was all gone. It was all gone. I'm like, wow. That was the best beauty sleep I've had in months. I don't know, in days, weeks, months. You gotta go on that scale. And like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, right? So I did it for a little while. Of course, sometimes a little awkward because you have an urge to flip to your side. But if you're sleeping on the ground, that's gonna hurt. But that's to your advantage because it tells you continue to sleep straight on your back, right? You might not even want a pillow for it. Just sleep straight on your back, right? Now, my mom was sleeping with her head on a massive tilt, 45 degrees, constantly tilting me up because she thought it would be more comfortable to help her, right? And I told her the same thing, just sleep on your back. And she, I don't know why, but she hated me for saying that. She thought I was an idiot for saying that. Like, what do you mean? That's just going to hurt more. And I'm like, yeah, it hurts. Because sometimes when your back hurts and you do what I told you, right? It's going to feel like your back's being yoinked like down. It's like pulled down by a massive weight and it hurts. But keep staying there. It hurts, but it's good. It's like when you have a knot in your muscles and you like dig in there to get rid of the knot, right? It's going to hurt now, but once it's all over, you're going to feel 8 times better, right? So she slept on the ground. So I told her sleep without a pillow. So she slept without a pillow. Even just on her bed, she slept without a pillow straight up and down. The next day she woke up, I said, "How do you feel?" She didn't say a single word. She was embarrassed. She looked at me, she said, "I feel okay." I'm like, "Are you sure?" She's like, she's kind of smiling at me through the corner of her eyes and like, "It worked, didn't it?" And then she kept doing it. She put away the whole 45 degrees thing and she just slept straight on her back. And to this day, I think she still does, right? Now, she works in a nail salon, so her life is just a pain in the neck, right? Excuse me. Her life is just a pain in the neck, so it best helps that, right? So if you have that problem, try it. I think Aliana, one of my friends, right? Her grandfather will flip off his bed, right? Take off the mattress and sleep on the planks underneath the underneath the bed, right? And to me, I think that as well, he's Asian, so that's kind of normal, right? But at the same time, it's the same concept, right? It's the same concept, right? You lay and your back is nice and straight. That's what's good. And although it sucks the first day, right? And you might not want to keep it up forever. When you go back on your bed, and your back sinks into the bed as it should, and there's a little more support on each point, it feels amazing, right? So you may want to swap in that point, right? I did not plan on talking about this at all, right? Again, these are all kind of loose, no script kind of things, right? I'm wondering when I should start this short story, so I guess now, right? Those are 3 tips, right? First off, try to get rid of your phone, right? Try to sleep at the same time, and if you have back neck problems, sleep on a flat surface, even if that means the ground. Your friends, your parents, everyone might look at you like you're an idiot, right? But when you wake up the next morning, you feel good. Well, there you go. Hmm. Before recording this episode, right? Before recording this episode, I was asked by my cousin to do an interview kind of thing, right? Where I kind of talked about, or I said some lines as if I was a person on 9 News or something like that, right? And so I've kind of got that feeling in me, right? Or I feel like I should be bombastic, maybe bombastic, but loud. Loud's a pretty good word, right? Expressive, but I don't know, it's different right now. And I'm not entirely certain how long this Magic Pumpkins thing is. Now, you guys might have heard it, but it took a while for me to find this, right? I might as well read it, see where it takes me, right? You know what? Before I do that, let's get some water, because I'd hate to voice crack through this thing. Try to find a way to snuggle in. Hopefully my voice isn't giving off any creepy vibes, but here we go. The Magic Pumpkins. There were once 2 brothers, Yura and Mikhalo. Mikhalo? Those are hard names. Let's do this. There were once 2 brothers, Kenny and Ryan, who grew up in a poor family and knew nothing save need and want. The time came for them to marry, and Kenny, the elder of the 2, and Ryan, the elder of the 2, knowing that she was rich, took an old maid to wife, while Kenny, the younger brother, married a poor young orphan. I'm putting my brother on blast, right? But that's fine. Luck ran against Kenny. He had only his bare hands to work the land with, and was very poor indeed. Before they married, the brothers had been friends, but now their ways parted. One day they quarreled, and Ryan, who became very angry, told Kenny never to set foot in his house again. Spring came, and Kenny did not have enough money or even seeds for one vegetable bed. He thought of the coming winter and felt very sad and crestfallen. "What shall I do, wife?" he asked her. "I'll have to go and ask Yura to help me, or Ryan to help me." "I'm not going to do a wife voice. You may ask me, I will not do a wife voice." "Go, husband," said the wife. "Who knows, perhaps he will be kind to you this time." His mind made up, Kenny went to go see his brother. He came to his house and began telling him how badly things had turned out for him, but Ryan refused to listen to him. "Don't you remember what I told you? Get out of my house," he shouted. Kenny went home, and he was even more sad than before. "Well, what did Yura say? Or what did Ryan say?" I keep missing the names, I apologize. "What did Ryan say?" his wife asked him. "He turned me out and would not give me even one little seed." "So what are you and I going to plant, wife?" "Oh, don't worry. Who knows how things may turn out yet?" I read that horribly wrong. "Don't worry. Who knows how things may yet turn out," his wife said, trying to comfort him. My wife is amazing. Spring passed and summer arrived. Kenny's hut was small, but there was a great many swallows' nests under its roof. One day, a gust of wind sent the baby birds toppling out of the nest and killed them all. But one survived. The bird's leg was broken, and Kenny, who had seen the bird fall, picked it up, tied a little twig to the injured leg, and after a while the leg had healed. Kenny took the bird outside and set it free. Several days passed, and the little swallow returned. A pumpkin seed in the beak, it flew near and about the hut, and then dropped the seed at the door. My wife was the first to see it. "Look what the swallows brought us, husband," she cried. I was overjoyed. Kenny was overjoyed. I don't know what I should say. Kenny was overjoyed. "Now we are farmers," he cried. "We'll plant the seed and perhaps something will grow out of it," right? So they planted the seed in the vegetable garden, and soon gave forth shoots and then a vine and leaves. The vine grew longer and longer and trailed over the ground, and then flowers sprouted on it, and after them fruit. At the end of the summer, Kenny had 3 pumpkins in his garden, and so huge were they as had never been seen before. so huge. They're huge. Said Kenny to his wife, "Bring one of the pumpkins here, wife, and we'll cook it and eat it." "But how can I do that?" the wife returned. It's much too big for me to carry all by myself." So the two of them went to the vegetable garden together, and it was all they could do but to carry the pumpkin into the hut. Kenny cut the pumpkin open with an axe, and lo and behold, there were all sorts of food and drinks in it, enough to last him and his wife many years. They brought in the second pumpkin, and before Kenny had time to cut it, it burst open itself, and clothes of all kinds fell out, enough to dress the whole village. Kenny and his wife were eager to see what was in the third pumpkin, so they brought it into the house, and no sooner had Kenny struck it with his axe than poured out gold and silver coins, so many that there was no counting again. So now the poor brother was no longer poor, and did not need to ask his rich brother for anything more. Now Ryan was envious of Kenny and wanted very much to learn how he had become so rich. So he said to his wife, "Go to Kenny and ask him where he got his riches." Kenny was out when Ryan's wife came to see him, but his wife told her everything she wanted to know and did not hold anything back. She told her how the wind had swept the young swallows out of their nest, how her husband had cared for the injured bird and made it well again, how it had brought them a seed, and how 3 huge pumpkins had grown out of it. And Ryan's wife went home and passed it all on to her husband. Spring came round, and it brought the swallows. They began building their nests, and they built some under Yura's roof, and laid eggs in them. I keep saying Yura. It's just so much easier to say Yura. Ryan's roof, and laid eggs in them. In time, baby birds were hatched from them, and their piping filled the house. Ryan waited for the wind, but no wind came, so losing patience, he took a long stick and knocked the nest down. All were killed, but he saved one of the nestlings with a broken leg. Ryan took it into the house and cared for it. The injured leg healed, and Yura set the nestling free. Some time went by, and the young swallow brought Ryan a seed. Ryan was overjoyed and hurried with it to the vegetable garden. He and his wife planted the seed and eagerly waited for fortune to smile on them as it had on Kenny. The seed gave forth shoots and then a vine and leaves. The vine trailed over the ground, but though many golden flowers opened up on it, it only yielded a single fruit. This, however, did not dampen Ryan's spirits, and he could hardly wait for autumn to come. And he never left his garden day or night for fear that someone might steal his pumpkin. The pumpkin was ripe at last, and Yura and his wife brought it into the hut. But no sooner did Yura strike it with his axe than it broke in two, and a flame burst out of it. The hut caught fire and burnt to the ground, and so did the barn and everything Ryan and his wife had. The rich brother was no longer rich, but he was ashamed to ask his younger brother for help. So he threw a sack over his shoulder and went roaming the world and begging for alms. Now, that story ended a lot darker than what I remember, right? What I remember was a story of the man on the moon, as I alluded to before. I'll try to retell the best I can remember. Again, Ryan saw the shoots spread forth all across his garden. And at one point, when he was out there waiting out there one day, right? A pumpkin sprouted. A small pumpkin. A very small pumpkin sprouted. And Ryan, so eager, rushed to grab it. As he went for it, the shoot grew away. The pumpkin grew away. And Ryan, confused, but still eager, ran after it. When it grew upward and upward, out of his reach. And so Ryan, greedy, climbed the vine to get to the pumpkin. But with each foot he climbed, each foot that he scaled that magical vine, it kept growing farther and farther away from him. He went so far that he found himself on the moon. And when he cracked open the pumpkin, he finally got it. He cracked open the pumpkin. It was dead. There was nothing in it. And so he felt ashamed and frustrated. So he looked back and he found out he was on the moon. He was furious, but he could never get back. And so he spent the rest of his life on the moon, and that is why you see a face on that moon. It is Ryan's face, angry and frustrated. He will never be as rich as me. Anyway, thank you for stopping by for this KenCast. I don't know if it'll help you sleep, and I doubt it will, but if it does help someone, one person, that is more than enough. So, in that regard, I thank you for listening, and hope to see you next time.